What's good, Southeast Michigan Podcast? Daniel back here with you. Southeast Michigan Podcast is free and available wherever you watch or listen. Up on YouTube, click the bell for notifications, subscribe, and if you could, please rate the show. It helps the show grow and prosper. Very much appreciated. We are coming up on Christmas, and I tell you what, this year has been an absolute blur. Of course, Michigan has slayed the dragon that is Ohio State. We had our conference games last weekend. Michigan found out that they are playing Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Penn State came up short to Oregon. We got our 12 teams in the playoff. It was a wild weekend, a fun one. That being said, in this episode, we're going to hit up Michigan hockey, basketball. We'll touch on some football news, Michigan style. We'll go through the college football headlines as well. And at the very end, we are going to do another edition of the social media clowns. It was fun reading social media posts, tweets, whatever, of the Ohio State meltdown after Michigan beat them. And of course, we had the post-game scuffle with the flag plant, and some funny stuff came to light after that. I tell you what, the Ohio State fan base is Weenie Hut Jr.'s times over. It's been absolutely hilarious. It's been delicious to drink the tears. Before we get into all that goofiness, let's check into the Michigan hockey and the Michigan basketball programs. I had mentioned last week when we were doing the Ohio State stuff, you know, that we have to stop back over to see what's going on at Yost and Chrysler Arena, because it's been quite some time since we chit chatted about it. I was going to do a mailbag, but quite frankly, we got a lot to get to. It's going to probably be a lengthy episode tonight. So, segment one, let's go into Michigan hockey first. The Michigan hockey got blanked back-to-back nights last weekend at Minnesota, 6-0 on Friday, and 2-0 on Saturday night. The Gophers scored 3 in period 3 and in 2 in game 1, while in game 2 Michigan fought hard to keep it close but still lost 2-0. It was 1-0 pretty much for the entire second night, and Minnesota got an empty netter with 11 seconds to go. Cameron Corpy saved 35 of 36 shots in that game too. So that second goal, of course, didn't go against him for him not being in the crease. Corpy came in period 3 during Friday night's game after Logan Stein surrendered 6 goals. That meant that Friday night game was abysmal. It was, Minnesota's got the conference's top 3 scorers on their team. Jimmy Snuggerud being one of them. They are so well coached already, and Snuggerud's been there. I think this is his junior season, which seems like he's been there forever. They are just monsters, and it's going to be very difficult for anyone to beat them. They are going to be probably in the Frozen Four. They're probably going to be hosting another Big Ten championship game. They got it all right now. Minnesota moved to 8-0 in Big Ten play, and now they're 15-2 overall with 23 points. They got a commanding lead right now. Michigan is now 10-5 overall with 11 points. They host second place Wisconsin this weekend. I believe Wisconsin's got 15 points, so they are still 8 back from the Gophers. The Badgers are coming off a 4-0 win over at the time number 1 Michigan State. Michigan State and Minnesota swapped spots several times for the number 1 and number 2 spots in the country, especially after Denver lost a few weeks ago, and a 2-3 loss in overtime. So the Badgers, might be 6-9 overall, but they're not going to be an easy out. The Wisconsin series will be the final set of games for Michigan until January 3rd, when Michigan travels to Wrigley Field to take on Ohio State for the Frozen Confine series, which I'll be at. Got some nice tickets, front row, upper deck at Wrigley. And the way Wrigley Field's constructed is there's really just two levels. There's not a mezzanine. There's really nothing in the center, in terms of like, um, concourse wise. So like you just got down below, and the seats almost sit horizontal all the way back to the concourse. And then when you go to the upper deck, that's that's where you get your one and only height, really. And because it's a hockey game, you want to sit in a specific spot. You don't want to sit level. You don't want to go watch a hockey game like and get tickets like you're watching a baseball game. You're not going to be able to see anything. And so, if you ever look at those kind of tickets, of course, the field level seats are going to be your cheaper ones. Your more pricey ones are going to be up high, and that's kind of how we did it last year for First Energy Stadium when Michigan played Ohio State at Cleveland at the Cleveland Browns place, because um, there, of course, there's a mezzanine, there's suite, there's press boxes right there, there's box seats. We got that mid section right there, and that was just primo. Primo. You don't want to sit on the field. You're going to see essentially shoulder up from the player. Anyways, Michigan was without freshman Michael Hagee, but is expected to suit up this weekend. Hagee was named Conference Freshman of the Month, but he was sorely missed in the Minnesota series. Sorely missed. Michigan and Wisconsin's power plays ranked 15th nationally, had 23.2%. The Wolverines' penalty kill is at 83.9%, first in the Big Ten, while Wisconsin is last in the nation at 71.1. Michigan goaltender Logan Stein sits at 6-3 record with an 89% save percentage, allowing 2.96 per game. Cameron Corpy sits at 4-1-1 with 90% save percentage, allowing 2.69 per game. So the question is, going forward, did you just go Corpy until it stops working, or do you go back to Logan Stein and play second fiddle here with Cameron Corpy? But yeah, Logan Stein was getting shelled, and again, it's Minnesota, but I think Cameron Corpy should be your net setter um, until otherwise, until further notice. But sorry, the fantasy football chat is going off the hook tonight. The Niners Rams start here in a little bit. Fantasy football players are beginning, and yeah, that's a whole nother story. Anyways, let's get into the basketball team here. Okay, so now Michigan sits at 8-2 overall and 2-0 in conference play. And the story of the season is turnovers, 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 turnovers. It's been a huge problem. Dusty May likes to run the floor, play up tempo, and with that, Michigan has been trying to do a lot of fancy, flashy passes. Some work, some don't, and I guess you just kind of get the yin and the yang with that. You'd hope that there's less chance taking, and more high percentage shots and passes in the near future, because it's been kind of a roller coaster. Okay, I know they're 8-2, so the record doesn't reflect a roller coaster, but the way the games go, for sure. And John Beilein's final season in 2018-19, Michigan was north of 10 turnovers only 12 times. This Dusty May squad has done it 9 times already in just 10 games. Versus TCU was their peak, reaching 21, and that one alone, and only 9 when they beat, at the time, number 22 Xavier. So once Michigan got to Xavier and beat those guys, they kind of almost look like they found themselves. I mean, they've been playing good ball, right? They kind of seen the well, I mean, the fans, we seen this team try to grow and gel in the beginning, the first 4 or 5 games. Uh, of course, that was the first time they've actually had live action per se. This is a whole new roster essentially outside of like Jace Howard. So, for example, I'll read you um, Vlad Golden's stats. So Vlad Golden, of course, he had kind of a struggle coming out the gate here from Michigan. The question was, how's his play going to be in the big time compared to when he was with Dusty at FAU? So Cleveland State, he only gets 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 blocks. He had 4 turnovers himself, and then points wise, he gets 8 against Wake Forest, 8 against TCU, but he had 8 rebounds, so somewhat decent. Miami of Ohio, 8 points. He was 8 and 6 there. And then when we got to Tarleton State, he got 12 points, so you got double digits. Okay. Then he got back down to 8 versus Virginia Tech. Then we got to that Xavier game, right? He's got 18 points that time. He had only 1 turnover, 2 blocks, 5 total rebounds. He had 5 defensive boards, 0 offense boards. So much better game. He had a 75% free throw percentage there. And then we had the Wisconsin game. He goes out and bangs out 24 points, only 2 turnovers, 3 blocks, and then he had 5 boards. Then we had the Iowa game, is probably overall best game of the season, 20 points and 11 boards and 1 block. And then this last game, even though they lost to Arkansas, he had 17 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 2 blocks, and just 1 turnover. So took like I said, want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 6 games to get going. But Vlad has kind of found it. And when I watched that TCU game, I was there with Jeff, and that was just the one thing. It's like you're 7 foot, man. Play angry, play with aggression, and throw it down. And it took some time, but he has. Now Danny Wolf, this kid is a monster. I really hope we get him for a second year. But the way this kid's playing, he's going to be a first round draft pick. He had a great inauguration as a Wolverine here versus Cleveland State in the opener. 19 points, 13 boards, had assists, steals, blocks. Had 5 turnovers. He's averaging about 4 or 5 turnovers a game. And being a ball handler like that, if he can stay at like 3 max per game, that would be more ideal. But I mean, he definitely is a playmaker. TCU, he went 14 and 14. Kind of got in the single digits there versus Miami of Ohio, Tarleton State, Virginia Tech. Didn't really need him to do a whole lot against those lowly squads. I mean, I'm not saying Virginia Tech's horrible, but he got 11 boards that one still. But this run here was Xavier, Wisconsin, Iowa, Arkansas. 20 points, 20 points, 13 points, 14 points, 14 boards, 7 boards, 14 boards, 9 boards. Dude's an animal. Dude's an absolute animal. And if fingers crossed, this dude stays healthy all season long, good things are going to come. And it's very, very exciting to see this team when him and Vlad both are having good nights at the same time. It's going to be almost unstoppable. What you hope is that on the nights that they're unstoppable, is Trey Donaldson can just feed them the rock and keep it out of the other team's hands. Next Wednesday night, they tip off currently versus a 9-0 number 13th ranked Oklahoma squad. Excuse me, at the Jumpman Invitational. So looking forward to that one. You hope they rebound. They were leading, I believe, at halftime. They were leading at halftime versus Arkansas, right? And just kind of the rail, the train just came off the tracks in the second half. Arkansas kind of went on a run there, and Michigan clawed back within one and just weren't able to do anything. So you hope they figure that out. Again, I said before the season started, if this team can compete for third place in the Big Ten, and they're in the top 4, I think that's a win. And like I said, if they get to a 6th or 7th seed in the national tournament, that's another win. I think that is very doable still. Beating Iowa. They're no matter what Iowa's record is, they're well coached and they're always tough. And beating a Wisconsin team, which quite frankly is you know they got that one guy. Was it John G? I can't remember his name. Um, but they're going to be a tough out. We'll see them later down the season. So that's it for hockey hoops. I don't really have anything else for that. When we come back in segment 2, we will chit chat about some college news. We'll talk Michigan football, transfer portal, recruiting, and stuff like that. So don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. All right, segment 2. Let's get into the Michigan football team. Actually, let's get into the college news first, right? Let's go to college news first. Real quickly, Purdue fired head coach Ryan Walters after a 1-11 season. Purdue went from 23 points per game on offense to just below 16 this season. Defensively, they allowed 30 points per game in 2023, which ballooned to nearly 40 in 2024. I really like Ryan Walters. I praised him when he was the DC at Illinois, and I say quickly, I still gave him respect, and I predicted his team to win a lot more games than they did this year. I did not expect them to go 1-11, and for him being a little bitch boy about the Connor Stallions thing, I'm glad that he got fired, and hopefully we don't ever hear his mouth again. Coming from the guy who said they have footage of Connor Stallions in their stadium, blah blah blah. Still haven't seen that footage. Yeah, I guess ring me when that does take place. Next, Rich Rodriguez, good old Rich Rod, heads back home to West Virginia. From 2012 to 2017 at Arizona, he went 43-35 and spent the past 3 seasons at Jacksonville State, going 27-10 overall with 3 consecutive 9-win seasons. So I know the Michigan fan base has always been kind of torn on their opinions and stuff like that on Rich. At the time in those years, I really bought in and thought that he was going to bring the next Pat White kind of era run with Denard Robinson. Didn't happen, and was ran out of town by some of the Michigan family. Just was not set up for success in Ann Arbor, and was never really given a fair deal, fair shake, whatever you want to call it. But nonetheless, he's back in West Virginia, and I hope he succeeds. Hope he succeeds. Bill Belichick takes over at North Carolina. How do you guys think that? How do you guys think that goes? You think Bill Belichick is going to turn the Tar Heels into a football powerhouse? Do you think it's just going to be kind of, 9-win, maybe an occasional 10-win program, or are they going to be actually competing in the ACC for, playoff contention? I don't know. It to see him in college, it's just weird, right? It's just weird. That'd be like, I don't know. I just because of his demeanor, the I don't know. I don't see that going past a nine win program year in year out. We'll see how I guess his coaching staff. Maybe he brings his son Steve over. Steve's the DC at Washington. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and watch who he puts together over there at Chapel Hill. But thought it was a very interesting hire. Very interesting hire. Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell gets 8-year extension through 2032. Cyclones take on Miami on the 28th for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Matt Campbell is the only head coach to have 5 straight winning seasons in Iowa State history, and that was from 2017 to 2021. Matt Campbell, interesting fellow, just because anytime there's a coaching vacancy in Ann Arbor, whether it's the HC, the OC, the DC, Matt Campbell is his name's always getting brought up to be the next man to take the job, and um, was even brought up, I believe, when was it before Jimmy was hired. I uh, I want to say that even with the whole Ryan Day situation, I've seen Ohio State fans chirp for this man to come back to or go into Columbus and take over, but 8 years to 2032, it doesn't look like he's going to be going anywhere, especially to the two schools mentioned. Purdue, Purdue hires UNLV head coach Barry Odom to become theirs. Um, yeah, did I read it right? Yes. So Barry Odom going to West Lafayette. UCLA fired OC Eric Bieniemy. That guy just uh, very very perplexing um, aura about him. I don't know. I don't know why people just don't give that dude a chance. It's mind boggling. Whether he goes back to the NFL or not, remains to be seen. But Eric Bieniemy, um, I don't think he gets a fair shake. Dan Mullen takes over as head coach for UNLV. So UNLV loses Barry Odom, and they, I think, essentially upgrade to Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen, of course, was getting tossed around for Michigan's OC before Michigan found theirs, and we'll get to Chip Lindsey here in a little bit. So Michigan football, lots happened in a week since the Ohio State game. First, Will Johnson declares for the NFL draft. Maybe some speculative gossip here, but in his social media post announcing his plans, he did not once mention Sharon Moore. Thanked a lot of coaches, nearly an entire coaching staff, past and present. Not one iota of Sharon Moore in there. Johnson finishes his Michigan career with 68 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 9 interceptions, and 3 pick sixes with 10 pass breakups. Some will say that he's the best corner in Michigan history, and so with 9 interceptions in his career, he only played 6 games this season. He only essentially played 2.5 years. With Charles Woodson playing 3 years, he was able to, I think, get 16 or 17 career interceptions. I still probably would take Charles Woodson ahead of Will Johnson, but they're neck and neck, in my opinion. Mason Graham also declared for the NFL draft. Graham finishes his Michigan career with 108 total tackles, 18 for loss, 9 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 pass breakups, and 1 recovery. Graham possibly goes down as the best defensive tackle Michigan has ever had. Also won first team All Big Ten honors, media and coaches. Also, I asked you guys, so let me know what you think of what the hell was it? Oh, I asked you guys what your thoughts on Bill Belichick is. Let me know what are your thoughts on these two Michigan players so far declaring. Where do you put Will Johnson? Ahead or below Charles Woodson, and is Mason Graham the best defensive tackle to ever to put on a maize and blue uniform? I think that Maurice Hurst is right up there as well. You watch Mason Graham play, and they almost have that same move where, as soon as that center's hiking the ball, those guys are just swim move in the backfield. Felt like both of those guys could do that, and one wonders what those two would be like that together on the same line. I'm not saying Kenneth Grant isn't worthy. I'm saying Grant's a beast as well, and one would assume that he's probably going to miss his bowl game for his pro future. With early national signing date in the books, Michigan sits at number 9 in the rankings according to On3. We still wait if they can flip Ty Haywood from Bama. So if you don't know, Ty Haywood is a 5-star offensive tackle, and Michigan was rumored to be in play to flip him. And I want to say last week I read somewhere where there is an emerging dark horse team to flip, and I think someone said it was Oregon. Either way, Ty Haywood's phone's probably blown up, and I hopefully see him go to Michigan because him and Andrew Babalola, two five-star offensive linemen, starting together, that would be nice. As of tonight, December 12th, Michigan has had 12 players enter the transfer portal. Let me read you the list if you haven't been keeping up. Some of these are interesting. Some of them, I'm not worried about it. The first one is one I'm not really worried about. Linebacker Christian Boyvian, um, unranked coming into Michigan. He's a 3-star transfer. This next one here, just never could get through the depth chart, and that's Raheem Anderson, 4-star recruit, 3-star transfer. Tommy Doman, didn't have as good as season as he did last year. And he had that 68-yard punt in the Ohio State game. So, I mean, he's good in my book. If he wanted to come back, it's not his, I guess, down year per se. It didn't bother me that much. I don't know. So, kudos to his future, and hopefully he finds success elsewhere. If not at Michigan. Next is Michael Pollard, 3-star recruit, 3-star transfer. Michael Pollard is the linebacker. There's 2 Pollards on this team, not related. This other one was one that caught me off guard. Is Andrew Gentry, 4-star recruit, 3-star transfer. That's someone that has played some pretty meaningful snaps here and there, and hopefully he reconsiders. We got 2 offensive linemen that quite frankly have a shot at starting next year, but they feel like they need to move on. This other one here is Tristan Bounds, 3-star recruit, 3-star transfer. And the funny thing is Tristan Bounds. I don't want to say the funny thing is, but he doesn't have a lot of game film, if at all. So when he posted his advertisement per se, trying to sell his portal, the practice tape shows Jaden Davis in there a few times, and the Jaden Davis throwing motion is wild. It is wild. You got to look for yourself. So if you go on X, look at Tristan Bounds' account, and in his pinned tweets, he's got that practice footage I'm talking about. And Jane Davis is number 2, and so when he snaps the ball, when he is in his windup, that ball is like almost below his armpit, and that just screams nightmarish thoughts of strip sack after strip sack. It's an interesting throwing motion, and so was Philip Rivers. So I don't know. I don't know how you take that. I really don't, but it's worth consuming. Next one is what I've been talking about for months. I had mentioned it during the season, before the season, and that is Cole Cabana, running back, 4-star recruit, 3-star transfer. Apparently, he got hurt early on in his career. Of course, never was able to break up through the depth chart. You had Jerron Stokes in there last year. You had Tavier Dunlap in there last year. Dunlap, was on the team this year as well, but probably had more of a role last season. Of course, he had Corum and Edwards. I mean, it's a loaded backfield. So I felt like this was a shoe that I knew was going to drop sometime, and there it is. So best of luck to him. He is a Greek god, and hopefully he goes to a school that doesn't haunt Michigan in the future. Next is Dominic Jadis, 3-star Lyman, 3-star transfer. Another one where, battled all season long for the starting role, and, you know, best wishes. But this is another one where, you know, the offensive line was already suspect this year, and to see the guys leave, or at least put their name out there, it's a little concerning, especially with the bowl game coming up. Are they even going to be able to field an offensive line? Next is Tyvier Dunlap. We just talked to him, talked about him a few moments ago. 3-star recruit, 3-star transfer. Next is Tyler Morris, Rose Bowl hero. Caught one receiving touchdown last season, and that was against Bama. 4-star recruit, 3-star transfer. I believe he was a top 100 recruit in his class. I'm not. He. I know a lot of it was probably utilization in this offense. Michigan probably couldn't get him the ball as much as they wanted to, and this is going to be a position where they have to get into the portal and get replacements. This one is. It kind of does suck that he's leaving, because I felt like he's one of the more experienced guys, but what can you do? Can't cry about it. So good luck to him. We got two more. The next one is quarterback Jane Donegal, 3-star recruit, 3-star transfer. And someone was just texting me about this kid the other day. What about Jane Donegal? And just buried on the depth chart, threw a touchdown versus Nebraska last year in mop-up duty. And we questioned this coaching staff's decisions on who they started at quarterback in the beginning of the year and the middle of the year, and if Jane Donegal couldn't get past Davis Warren, couldn't get past Alex Orji, then I just, it's not worth our time. So, good luck to him in the future. Hopefully he finds a home. But if he can't get through the depth chart with who's here, then, what can you do? Next is Miles Pollard, cornerback, 3-star recruit, 3-star transfer. This one who we relied on this season to play some snaps, and he's potentially out the door. That cornerback. There's so many spots to fill through this portal. Normally what Michigan would get, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys. We're looking at like 12, maybe 15 that are going to be coming in here. It'll be a very interesting offseason, to say the least. Yeah, that's what I got for you. Those are all 12 of them. I refresh it every day, because they're not. There's going to be more. There's going to be more, and so wide receiver. Well, first I'd start with the offensive line, but offensive line, wide receiver, and corner they're going to have to be addressed. And this bowl game, we'll probably preview it next week. But I don't even know who they're going to put out there, right? But with Michigan not in the playoff, I think this is a good time to take advantage of getting a quarterback. They got Jane Davis, who I think this would probably be a good time for him to start out there and get some playing time. I know Davis Warren could probably go in this one, but why couldn't Jane Davis get a series or two, especially knowing that you already have a lot of meaningful guys not playing, probably. I don't know. I just can't rule it out. Especially with Donegal going. I just think you should throw Jane Davis. See what we got out there. Give him a drive. Especially if the game gets ugly. Like if Bama's beating us up, who the hell cares? But have to look at the Crimson Tide, because Jalen Milroe, does he sit? They're not. They're not. You can't say that they're not going to have their guys take a knee in this one either. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll get into this one next week. Michigan is a 10-point dog versus Bama. Um, we got the new offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey, coming in. And so, uh, I mean, it could be worse, I guess. I don't know. Real quickly, I'm going to read through Chip Lindsey's bio, per se. Uh, Born in Alabama, Crimson Tide's his alma mater. Uh, Graduated in 1997, looks like. Played wide receiver. And let's see, it says playing career, North Alabama. Huh, interesting. Anyways, coaching career. We'll skip past his high school coaching. So in 1997, he started as an assistant at Springville. Then he went to Sparkman, Deschler, Colbert Heights, Hoover, Lassiter, and then in 2010 he goes to Troy. So 2010, Lindsey becomes quarterbacks coach under Larry Blakeney for the 2010 season, where he coached Sunbelt Freshman of the Year Corey Robinson, who threw for 3,707 yards with 28 touchdowns and 15 receptions, while leading the number 37 passing offense in the country. Let me pull up so you can read what I read if you want. Next stop, the following year, under coach Todd Monken, who Todd Monken is currently the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator. Lindsey was named OC at the University of Southern Mississippi in 2014. In 2015, the Golden Eagles finished the season 9-5, 7-1 in CUSA play to be champions of the West Division. The 2015 team also finished 12th in the nation in total offense. They represented the West Division in the Conference USA Football Championship game, where they lost to Western Kentucky. They were invited to the Heart of Dallas Bowl, where they were defeated by Washington. In December 2015, it was announced that Lindsey would be named the new offensive coordinator at Arizona State University for the 2016 season. Arizona State would finish the 2016 season at 5-7, while averaging over 33 points per game, at 11th in the nation in red zone offense. Lindsey was an offensive analyst on Auburn's staff in 2013. The season, the Tigers won the SEC title and fell 13 seconds short of a national championship. On January 21st, 2017, Auburn head coach Gus Malzahn announced that Lindsey would serve as the new offensive coordinator, producing an $800,000 in compensation. During the 2017 season, the Tigers won an SEC West Division championship after wins over top-ranked Georgia and Bama. For the 2018 season, Auburn finished 8-5. He left Auburn after 2018 to be the offensive coordinator at Kansas. On January 11, 2019, Lindsey was named the new head football coach at Troy University. Troy fired Lindsey on November 21st, 2021, with one game remaining in that season. Lindsey posted a record of 15-19 over 3 years with no bowl appearances. After being let go by Troy, Lindsey reunited with Gus Malzahn at UCF. He was hired as UCF's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He spent one season in Orlando, and the Knights' offense finished 26th nationally in scoring, 11th in yards per game, and 8th in rushing. North Carolina. Following Phil Longo's departure for Wisconsin, Lindsey was hired by Mack Brown as the Tar Heels offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach on December 15th, 2022. So, reading all that, as a head coach, 15-19, okay, 51-23 in high school. Yeah, if you're looking on the screen, his head coaching career is absolutely wild. He does not stay anywhere for very long. The longest stint anywhere has been pretty much 3 years. I mean 2, I guess, really. No, 3. I mean, he was at Troy for 3 years, right? That's my only worry. I'm big on continuity, right? And when I see coordinators bounce all around, that drives me nuts. I get it. You're trying to find promotions. You have aspirations to be a head coach yourself. So like when Mike McDonald was here for a 1-year rental, I was kind of rolling my eyes and shaking my head when he left to went back to Baltimore, and now he's the head coach at Seattle. Fine, do your thing, boo. And then we had Jesse Minter for 2 years, and I was really bummed that Jesse Minter would, he left. Thought he was probably one of Michigan's best DCs of all time, and look what he's doing in the NFL. And the Chargers are fielding one of the better defenses in the league, and probably going to be a head coach here in the next couple of years. And of course, now you have Wink Martindale. But my point is he going to be here for 2 years and then leave again? Isaiah Hole on Lockdown was saying that Sean Moore wanted to find a offense coordinator that was also dealing with quarterbacks, and Kirk Campbell did that. But obviously there needs to be some sort of change there. I didn't think Sherrone Moore had the balls to do it, but he did. I just hope Jim Lindsey is here for at least um, the entire time period that Underwood's here, right? If Underwood's here for 3 years, I want Chip Lindsey to be here for that entire time. If Underwood's here for 4 years, I don't want Lindsey to be here for 3 and then leave, and then Underwood's here. Maybe Underwood tears it up and he's gone as junior year. Maybe he comes back for a fourth, whatever, for whatever reason. This is way down the road, of course. And then Underwood in his final year at Michigan's got to learn a whole new system. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my worry. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with our dude. Oh, I'm giving away. Oops. If you're watching, you're seeing a brief screenshot of of the next segment. So yeah, that's my lackadaisical Chip Lindsey tape. When we get back from segment 2 into 3 here, we'll get into our social media clowns, and we'll have some more fun. All right, back for segment 3, social media clowns time. All right, let's get into an article first before we get into our actual social media posts. So this is from Dan Morrison on On3 from yesterday, the 11th. Ohio lawmaker wants to make flag planting a felony after the game brawl. Yes, this is serious. After several fights broke out during rivalry week after teams planted flags on their opponents' fields, there has been some discussion about whether things need to change. Now a lawmaker in Ohio is taking things into his own hands. State Representative Josh Williams, Republican from Sylvania Township, introduced the OHIO Sportsmanship Act Tuesday. That act would make it a felony offense to plant a flag in the center of Ohio Stadium. The bill would prohibit planting a flagpole and flag in the center of Ohio Stadium of the Ohio Stadium football field on the day of a college football game, and to name this act the OHIO Sportsmanship Act. Notably, this bill specifically references Ohio Stadium. So, it would be presumably not include flag planting incidents at other college football stadiums in the state of Ohio, like Cincinnati's Nippert Stadium. This comes after Ohio State and Michigan fought following their most recent game when the Wolverines players went to plant a flag at midfield and several Ohio State players looked to stop them. Eventually, the police officer used pepper spray, and the Big Ten fined each side $100,000 for the incident. Despite being introduced, there isn't a lot of hope of actually getting this bill passed into law. House Speaker Jason Stevens, Republican Kits Hill, explained that the timing is going to make things difficult. The 2-year General Assembly wraps up next week, so if it doesn't pass before then, it will need to be reintroduced. Well, it's not going to have time to be passed, this late in the game, Stevens said. The flag planting incident during the game came after Michigan won its 4th straight game over Ohio State, meaning a 4-year senior for the Buckeyes has not been able to beat the Wolverines during their career. In this case, the loss was a major surprise, with the Buckeyes preparing for the college football playoff, while the Wolverines struggled at times throughout the season. Amid controversy from the fight, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day shared that he's going to leave a decision on what to do about it up to the Big Ten. I mean, it's a touchy subject because of the way the game ended, Day said, But I think that's up for Commissioner Tony Petitti and the guys at the Big Ten to decide and figure out what's best. We certainly don't want situations like that going on after the game. Oh, yeah, Ryan, where you just stood there and watched aimlessly, hopelessly, lifelessly, just staring off into the distance, vastness of space. You freaking wuss. You're tough, though. Notably, the fight brawl between Ohio State and Michigan wasn't the only fight over a flag planting incident during the week. NC State and North Carolina fought in a similar incident. Then, at the end of the Florida and Florida State game, Seminoles head coach Mark Norvell was seen throwing a Gators flag on the ground. That dude's softer than baby shit, too. As the 2025 college football season, after the 2025 college football coaching carousel gets into gear following the conclusion of the regular season, USA Today updated its list of the game's highest paid assistant coaches. And with many programs seeking college football's next up and upcoming coach, it's a perfect time to evaluate whether teams got real bang for their buck in 2024. Actually, I'd take that back. Oh, shoot. I'm going into another whole article. Forgive me. We're gonna end it right there with Mike Norvell throwing the Gators flag on the ground. I got in my Vector tractor beam. Keep going. Anyways, so there's our silliness right there. Let's continue here. So social media clowns. We did this last week. All right. So, speaking of Representative Josh Williams, his tweet on December 11th, I am proud to introduce the OHIO Sportsmanship Act to make flag planting at midfield a felony in the state of Ohio. Behavior that incites violent brawls and puts our law enforcement officers in danger has no place on the football field. And if you're watching on the screen, you can kind of see I had a friendly tweet response. All right, let's visit our Bucknuts on the message boards. So we didn't talk about it in the Michigan update, but Chase Herbstreit, Kirk Herbstreit's son, 3-star quarterback, had no Division I offers other than Michigan. He commits to Michigan. Kirk Herbstreit almost said "Go Blue" on Twitter. It was pretty funny. And Ohio State fans took offense. So this is from Jackson2340. Kirk, my man, fake blank Buckeye. Get your expletive dog off the television, you weak-minded blank. This dude came after Kirk Herbstreit's deceased dog, Ben. Absolutely despicable human being right here. Mannequin piss on Bucknuts. Frosted Tips strikes again. Tell me more about how much he and LeBron love Ohio State. What a hoot, LOL. Woody Lives, 78641. Herbie obviously didn't raise the kid right. But then again, Herbie never busts Desmond's ass, no matter how ridiculous or pathetic Desmond acts and talks. The virtue signaling over the years now makes perfect sense. Chaco. UM is about as low class of a program as there is. They are like the strung out trailer park trash couple that won the lottery, but try and act like they earned their fortune because they are hot stuff. Just national champions. Meanwhile, those with even half an ounce of discernment can see that they are still nothing but a couple of meth-addicted jackasses who fell into a few bucks. The arrogance, self-righteousness, and entitlement, as well as other characteristics not wanting to go down politics road throughout that university, is not one I would ever allow my son or daughter to attend. In many ways, they give Cal Berkeley a run for their money for the type of graduate they typically churn out. Great parenting. Oh yeah, one of the most top 3 public universities in the nation, actually the globe. Fucking moron. So there's some right there. Give me a second, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. We have more from Aaron Barrera on Facebook. I thought this man ran a satire parody account. He is the one we read last week where he claimed that the Ohio State kicker was paid off by Michigan because he shanked 2 field goals. So let's catch up with Aaron Barrera. I got two for you, and we can close this out. This guy is in fact a complete and total wackadoodle nut job. Please, someone shut up, Michigan. You know, the more the years drag on, it always seems that Michigan has some stat or some kind of quote that they just hang in front of everyone's face. Yes, you're reigning national champions. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Beat Bam on the Rose Bowl, obliterated Washington in the Natty. Yeah, thank you very much, Aaron. Appreciate it. Please, though, shut up with this. It's useless. You're bottom of the barrel playing a has-been Alabama in some irrelevant bowl. Move on like the rest of us do. Yeah, that's freaking hilarious. There's nothing worse than a Michigan fan who won't shut up about the past, as shown in this picture. Let's speak the truth. You barely had a winning season, and quite frankly, you probably cheated on that. There's no way this is serious. This man is diabolically an idiot. I beg for every Michigan fan to just stop on the internet for a year. Quit posting, quit sharing, just quit. You're done, not repeating anything. This year, it's bigger than you. You have plenty of Big Ten still in the playoffs. Root for something worth rooting for because it ain't you this year. One fed up Buckeye. And the picture he's referring to is one where a Michigan fan on Twitter posted Michigan's 2024 schedule ended up being number 3 Texas, number 11 USC, at number 22 Illinois, number 1 Oregon, and at number 8 Indiana. May God, I want to say take a moment of silence. But when you go to bed tonight, ladies and gentlemen, just say a quick prayer, or in your prayer, just mention Aaron Barrera. Hopefully he finds the mental strength to continue on life. Michigan fans are now Tennessee fans. Oh God. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that a married couple, went to the Rose Bowl last year wearing a white custom shirt that said Ohio State fan rooting for Alabama. Okay, let's continue. You know what blows my mind? How fast a team and its fans can turn on neighbors, friends, and even family members. I write this in disgust of Michigan fans. Seeing all of you root for Tennessee to beat Ohio State, okay, and in a historic night game sickens me. How many hats do you guys wear? Last year when it was your year, all of Ohio rooted you on. That is some of the most... What? We are a conference as a whole. Have some pride in the Big Ten. I'm sorry. I want you to lose every single game. Every single game. Anything that's good for you is bad for Michigan. Why in the fuck would I want Ohio State to win a natty? Why would I want Ohio State to win a bowl game? Why would I want Ohio State to beat Middle Tennessee State in September? That is the most idiotic rationale if I've ever seen it. Now that the tables have turned, it's back to the same old spiteful Michigan. This is why I think it's satire, but at the same time, he's dead-ass serious. There's no way that Ohio State fans rooted for Michigan in the Big Ten championship game or the playoff. There's no possible way. There's no way. We could be playing your rival Michigan State, and I'm betting you all would be wearing green hats next Saturday. That's another stupid, idiotic line right there. Take a lesson of us last year. See the Buckeyes through. They will produce a win in Columbus next Saturday, but we as a fan base need you. It's our year. Repeat it. It's the Buckeyes' year, and have some pride in your conference. From Three Rivers up to the UP, all of Detroit and the fans living in Ohio, I'll say it for you. OH. One fed up Buckeye. You just can't get more pathetic than that. Ryan Day's pathetic. Aaron Barrera's pathetic. These social media clowns are pathetic. Thank you for joining me here back for another segment where we visit these ass clowns. I tell you what, the tears, it's just, I'll put it in a Gatorade bottle, and that shit will quench my thirst for another 365 days. But seriously, Aaron Barrera on Facebook, again, it says comedian in his Facebook, and that's why last week I thought it was satire. But every post is like that. There's absolutely no way an Ohio State fan actually thinks like that. I know some of them have been and do because of what I've been reading, but how horrendous is that? And when we have this conversation of you want your conference to do good, again, with Penn State, I hope SMU kicks their ass. There's not an ounce of me, and there's no part of me that wants Penn State to win. Same thing with Ohio State. That is some of the dumbest ass logic. You have to be like Joel Klatt level of like football purist to think like on even remotely close to that. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Um, but yeah, of course I want Tennessee to win. When Ohio State won in 2014, it sucked. I wasn't that. There's not a second of my life where I went like, dude, sweet, dude, the Big Ten won the national championship 2014. No, I despise the SEC, and I would still root for Georgia to beat Ohio State. Like when Ohio State got in the playoffs somehow still, and in 2022 and played Georgia, and Noah Ruggles missed that field goal. I was ecstatic. I was at the casino. I was ripping Jaeger bombs in celebration. Not really, but metaphorically. There's no, no. That's buffoonery. That's a clown car take. Clown car lies. Clown car take. I'm a Raiders fan. Unfortunately, I'm a Raiders fan, and never in the history of my Raider fandom have I been like, wow, the Chiefs are in the AFC Championship. I really do hope they make it to the Super Bowl and win. It'll make the AFC West better. No, no. The hell's the matter with you? What the hell's the matter with you? God, that again, we're probably gonna do this. I don't know, once a month, maybe even once a week. It is pure heroin watching these dorks squirm, and then to watch this lawmaker try to push a bill through for making a flag plant a felony. Give me a break. Even some of the Ohio State fans were scratching their heads saying how soft this is. Michigan got their ass kicked by Texas. Texas planted the flag. Not one Michigan fan, not one Michigan player, coach went over to the Texas side and started a brawl. Okay? If you don't want that to happen, do it on the football field within 60 minutes. It's not like someone is whipping their Johnson out and taking a piss on the 50, okay? It's planting a flag. I don't understand the hubbub about it. It's like apparently this is the most ultimate disrespect. I mean I don't see 1 ounce of that being derogatory in any form or fashion. You want that not to ever happen to you? Don't lose. Don't lose. Anyways, we are going to wrap up our episode right there. I appreciate y'all joining back. I said we'll be back next week to preview the ReliaQuest Bowl. That is again on December 28th. It'll be very interesting to see who's even playing that game, no matter what team. Anyways, go blue. Links for social medias are in the description. I'll catch y'all next time.